Everybody, Joel D right here. It is Monday, March 10th, an afternoon special here of 21 Next, giving you the very latest on what's happening with the aftermath of that huge, fiery plane crash. You're looking at this, you probably have seen the images by now. Amazing, no one died, and that is one update we have for you. But shortly after leaving Lancaster Airport, it crashed down. This plane that you're looking at right here, 5 people on board, all taken to the local hospital, but at this point, they are all expected to survive. That location they ended up in, we're going to be talking about that in just a bit and getting the latest from the Brethren Village, which is very close to the airport as well. The first update I want to give you is the President, Donald Trump, was asked about this today. Here's his response.
There was just another plane crash in Pennsylvania today. Secretary Duffy's big concern is his department is being gutted. He's been, dealing with these crashes ever since he was sworn in.
He was asked if
have a legitimate concern.
Well, that has nothing to do with the department. That was a small plane, and that would have happened whether you had a big department or a small department, as you understand. It's just they have space like this. They have times when things happen a little bit more often than normal, and then it goes back and you go many years without having a problem. I'll tell you, I think the Southwest pilot did a fantastic job last week when he lifted that plane off the air, because if he put the brakes on, that wouldn't have been good. And I think the license should be maybe revoked for the plane that got in the way from the pilot, revoked for the plane that got in its way. But the way he immediately stepped in the gas and lifted up, as opposed to, thinking for about 3 seconds when it would have been too late. The Southwest pilot or pilots they did a great job.
Okay. So he's talking about some other things there as well. But the main piece that he was asked about, these FAA cuts, you may have heard about those. So many cuts happening with DOGE and trying to slim down the government. Was that impacting things like this? He says, no, these small departments, it's different scenario. We are learning more about that and more. So let's bring in our reporters that are on top of this today. That is TJ Anthony, who is covering the latest on the investigation, things like that. At least person talking to people in that neighborhood who witnessed everything. Give us the latest update. What did you learn today, TJ, as you've been out there?
Yeah, so what's interesting is, you said one of those updates earlier. Of course, we also know that now the FAA is classifying this as an accident, which is interesting. And then we also know, I spoke with the Manheim Township Fire Chief, who's right there on your screen there, who's at a press conference for this on Sunday. He handed off the investigation to those 3 federal agencies that are now involved, the NTSB, the FAA, and now the Environmental Protection Agency. They are involved because of a fuel leak that happened because of that crash on scene yesterday.
Okay, the latest from you, Elise, and remind people what you're checking out there at Brethren Village today.
Yeah, so I got the chance to speak with a few people that live here today. And I think one of the most interesting things, at least in my opinion, is speaking with a number of residents, is they told me that they did not hear the impact of the plane crashing, but rather the amount of sirens that followed. So I just thought that was really interesting, because some of these homes are very close to the site of the crash, but they said within minutes, the sirens were rolling in. And I just thought that was really interesting. They said this is typically a pretty quiet community, so the amount of sirens that they heard really caught people's attention.
Let people know, how close to the airport is that retirement community, Elise?
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at the site of the plane crash right now, right outside one of the residential buildings, and then I'm looking at the airport as well. It's literally right across the street from one another. In fact, some of the signs here in the community have arrows that point towards Airport Road. So it is very, very close in proximity to the residential community here.
And I also want to add,
yeah, go ahead.
I also want to add, we've seen planes come in and out of Lancaster Airport over here as well. So it hasn't even stopped airflow over in this area at all.
Right. It's a pretty active airport. This is not the big passenger jets you're used to seeing, but these are all these small ones that come in and out. And this one was going to Springfield, transporting some people. TJ, I know you've listened to the cockpit recorder. We have some information on that. Share with us what your takeaway was from listening in.
Yeah, so basically it kind of revealed what happened just moments before that crash. The recording only lasted about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And basically you heard air traffic control communicating with someone in the plane, most likely the pilot. And you could hear the pilot saying he needs to land. They gave him permission to land. The pilot is also heard in that audio saying he can't hear the air traffic controller because of that wind. And there was some sort of issue with the door going on, and air traffic control was trying to get in communication with them, couldn't hear anything. Then they said that plane is down, and then they started calling for help to try to get some agencies to respond to that scene.
I know sometimes the word miracle gets thrown around a little too easily, but when you are there and you're seeing the damage, we're all looking at these pictures. It's a word that seems to apply for this one. What's your take?
Oh yeah, no, it is definitely an exceptional sight. I mean, these buildings make up most of this area. That parking lot really is just a slim part of this retirement village. So just to see how close that plane came to those buildings and did not hit that, there were no casualties, no deaths, just a few injuries. The fire chief told me 3 people are recovering from burn injuries, but they are expected to be okay. That is absolutely incredible to think about.
Elise, same thing. When you're talking to people there, this could have gone completely differently.
Yeah, I mean, a big word that people use with me today is gratitude. One woman told me that someone was really watching over the community here at Brethren Village. A lot of them said miracle is a word that they use. They could not believe how close this came to the building, but did not, hit the building at all. They said that the building in which the plane crashed right outside of, they said that's one of the most populated buildings here within Brethren Village. Another thing that the residential community actually put out a statement saying at no point were residents in danger. They did establish a shelter in place periodically for residents as this was an unfolding situation. But yeah, people are definitely very, very grateful for the fact that, I mean, when you look at the pictures, a lot of damage done, but in the grander scheme of things, people are saying, we're so lucky that this was not worse.
Elise, did you get a feel from them at all? Had they ever had any second thoughts about living there? They're obviously very close to the airport, probably got used to hearing the planes going back and forth, but had they ever thought of that before? And now moving forward, are they thinking about it more?
Actually, the complete opposite, Joel D. I mean, the people that I spoke with today said, we love living here. They said the way that the community handled the situation, they said that the communication was exceptional. The way that they were assisting residents was exceptional. They said they felt very supported and in the know of what was going on. They said, if anything, this whole situation has made them more proud to live here at Brethren Village.
Yeah, I just wonder with the planes coming and going, if it makes you think a little differently now than you hear it each time, rather than just accepting that's what you hear. TJ, last thing, what are we waiting for the most, in a sense? Which questions are the biggest?
Definitely the number one question, how exactly did this happen? I mean, that audio recording revealed that there was some sort of issue going on in that plane. So could it have been the door? What was going on? So just how that plane and why that plane needed to land, especially taking off just moments after taking off, why that plane needed to just land. So just how it happened, why it happened. Also, of course, want to know the victim's conditions. How serious are those burn injuries? Will they be okay, or are they facing some pretty permanent injuries there that they'll have to deal with the rest of their lives?
Yeah, I'm curious as well, moving forward, the kind of plane it was. Is this the kind that maybe some newer pilots have, an experienced pilot? Is this, are there elements of that could have been at play here? As we move forward, those are things we'll consider as well.
It's definitely a question. We do know it's a single engine plane. We also know that there were 5 people total on board. We didn't know this yesterday, but now we know that there was 1 crew member and the rest of the people on board were passengers. And like you said, they were heading to Ohio.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you. We're going to see you in about half an hour on the traditional newscast of CBS 21 at 5. But great job out there. Keep up the good work. If you have anything else, let us know.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you. All right, folks, you're up to date on 21 Next. We'll keep giving these updates as long as they're relevant, and we appreciate you tuning in to all of these updates. I know you're curious about what's going on. We are too. And once we get more information, we'll let you know. This is CBS 21 Next. We'll see you on the news.